So we'll make this quick. Take a 20% cut of every dollar laundered. The casino pays a fake corporation. We could do really bad things together.
Right now?
Yes.
Do I have your consent to unbutton your pants?
You do.
Poorna, welcome to the Awards Tour podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be with you, Jacqueline.
Yes, and I do have to apologize. I knew about Deli Boys, but it took me a little while to finally catch up on season 1 and now see the first part of season 2. And I just have to say, maybe going back to what we would have talked about in season 1, Lucky is the craziest character. How did she come to you? Because it's not saying that this is outside of your ability, clearly, because you play her so well, but this is not necessarily, let's be honest, the type of role they typically write for Indian, whatever, American, British, whatever. It's just not what we've seen that much.
Yeah. I mean, the creator, Abdullah, saw me in Never Have I Ever and was like, what if we turned this mom into a gangster? Like, what would happen if we took this actress who's known to play like a motherly figure and turned it on its head? So that's how it came to me. I just, I read the script, I got the offer, and I cannot tell you how much this is in my wheelhouse. Like, I cannot describe to you how I finally got the character that encompasses so much of my humor and how I think and what I want to do in the world. And it's my favorite character I've ever played. I mean, Never Have I Ever is the closest character I've ever played, and Lucky is so out there, and yet I have so much fun playing her, and I have so much fun working with the boys.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say, I mean, it is the Deli Boys. This is their story about how these two least likely people in the world end up basically becoming like the Indian, Peaky Blinders, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, Breaking Bad with like South Asians. I love
Breaking
it.
Dumb.
Breaking Dumb,
so
a little
dumb.
bit not as smart with it.
Yeah.
But luckily, they do have Lucky. And the other thing I was just going to say, she was such a great character introduction in season 1, but then I came and watched season 2, and it's almost like as badass as she was in season 1, it's even more in season 2, because now we got to see her be the sort of like John Wick style, I'll kill you and like scheme against you. And this one, thanks to Fred Armisen, she's like the object of desire. So talk about how Lucky is like showing I guess you would say, the femme fatale part of who she is in this season, and how much fun was that to play?
Totally. I think the through line, however femme fatale she might be, is how she's constantly surrounded by men who act like children. Like, that's the consistent through line in Lucky's life, be it the two boys, be it Fred and Kumail, whatever's happening in her personal life and her business life mirrors each other, because she's surrounded by incompetent, dumb baby men, right? And so she has to constantly clean up messes and take care of situations. And, she needs these men. She needs Max Sugar to take her to the next level. And I know she finds an equal in Max. I think what she loves about Max is that how he delegates, and she's never quite figured out how to delegate the way he did. He never gets one hand dirty in anything, right? And she's like in the trenches and killing people and pulling people out of, so she really admires that. But, especially the scenes with Kumail and Max where they're vying over me, they're just, when push comes to shove, the default of all the men are pure children and babies, and she has to kind of rise above all that constantly. So not only is a battle for survival and for keeping, our business afloat, it's also just managing the complete ineptitude of all the men surrounding her.
Yeah, and I would say in season 1, that was like the biggest thing, was just her trying to keep those two boys alive. And for half of the season, I don't even think they knew that that's what she was trying to do, because we didn't know where her allegiances lie. But now in season 2, we know where her allegiances lie. She's proven it time again. But you're right, this new dynamic of these two suitors, courtesy of Fred Armisen and Kumail Nanjiani, is like, again, she's just this object of desire, which I think is even something that she's not ready for, because I think Fred even says to her, I've never had an equal, or she says to Fred, I've never had an equal.
Correct.
And so like, that's the so thing. I'd be love if you could talk a little bit about the dynamic between those two actors. I think is such like tried and true comedians. I can only imagine what they were bringing to your face is telling me they're bringing a lot.
I mean, the whole thing was improv. It was intimidating because I couldn't keep up with them. It was
Oh, they
so
were all
intimidating.
improv. They were all
When
improv.
Kumail walked onto set, it was just improv town, and it gave everyone permission to just be like this with the lines, and they just went for it. And they would just riff for such a long time. The camera would keep rolling. And I think so much of that improv made it in, which what makes that scene really, really funny. And then Lucky assumes the role of like disciplinarian and teacher and adult so often in so many situations, just to bring that dynamic into, these two gangsters is kind of hilarious. But having Kumail on set was such a delight. He said it's his first time speaking so much Urdu, and and he gets to call Fred a bandar chod, which means a monkey fucker, and he just like found that so funny, and that was all improv. And he asked the writers to put in a ping pong scene because he's passionate about ping pong. So it's all this like random stuff. It's like, I really want to do this character in this way, and everything just got mishmashed together. And the result is absolute chaos and funny, which is very much in keeping with the tone of the show.
I mean, yeah, but then there's a part of me that says, I think at some point you guys have to get every South Asian to ever be on screen in there, because y'all have about half of them to begin with. And I mean this in like the kindest way possible, from the regulars that y'all had in season 1 to everyone that you're bringing in season 2. Do you have a wish list for somebody that you would like to see? I mean, you also had a ton of them in Never Have I Ever. And it just
really
a lot that you had to do.
We met Ben Kingsley at the Disney upfront, and we really pitched him hard. So in the at the end, it's revealed that there's a whole second family, or there's a whole different situation. So we were like pitching Ben Kingsley really hard to be part of that second family somehow. He's like a dream. For me, he just comes with so much gravitas. So if you put like him in absurd situations, I think it would just blow our lives up in the best possible way. Him, Shah Rukh Khan, who's seen the show. Shah Rukh is a huge Bollywood actor, as you know. And
I mean, girl, I don't think you could call him an actor. He's an institution. Like, that man is kind of God.
Thank you. I cannot believe I used the A word to describe Shah Rukh Khan. You're so right. He is, he's seen it and he loves it. So just, aiming really high and aiming really big. And I think the comedy is appealing across the board. I don't think anyone has ever seen a South Asian show as unapologetically absurd and funny like Deli Boys.
Yeah. And that's the reason why I was like, I knew it was good, obviously. But it's one of those things, too, where I watch things usually when they're coming for like Emmys or whatever. And just for whatever reason, this one, it literally took to like getting close to the window for me to finally sit down and watch it. And when I did, I was like, oh, my God, this is just so not what I expected. Like, from the title. I kind of thought it was like going to be like Kim's Convenience. No offense. Like, I just didn't know what it was when I first saw it.
I get it, of course.
And then when I sat down with it, I was like, this is like Snatched. I loved all of that.
Exactly.
Another thing that I think is
Guy Ritchie. You're so right.
The other thing I really loved about it is Lucky, is that, from her introduction, whether she's murdering someone within 30 seconds of us meeting her, or, slapping these guys upside the head, she's also got the fits. And I can tell based off of this is you're kind of also a little bit of a fashion girly. Talk about the wardrobing of Lucky and how much that is like a part of her storytelling.
I mean, second season, we went so far as in one scene, we just, in Bollywood, you just change outfits without any rhyme or reason. And it's a thing that's very glaring. You're like, she was in the kitchen a second ago in a totally different outfit. There's no sense of continuity with outfits. And that's what we just said. We were like, we're just putting Lucky in everything. I mean, Kaylee Brenneman, who is the gifted costume director on the show, just went to the Real and killed it at the Real. Like, I was in Mugler, Versace. When we began, the mood board was 90s supermodel and like 80s Bollywood actress icons with Zeenat Thaman there. We had Cindy Crawford and Linda, and just everyone like, just think shoulders, full of shoulders. And then this season we went we did it, but we also like really had a lot of wonderful fitted and leather, and just, I just feel like Lucky is just such a fashionista, and I I love that aspect of it. You know, Kaylee and I just went crazy. Like you see us in a lot of Indian brands. Like there's
Mm.
a beautiful suit that's on the poster by Shweta Kapoor 43188. Huge shout out, like
Mm.
big padded shoulders. Mugler, we see in the courtroom scene, there's a gorgeous Stella McCartney leopard skin, you know. But again, it is the shoulders just, you know, I say Lucky needs to have padded shoulders because she's carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders, you know? So, and
Oh,
they're
wow.
big. Yeah, I just feel it added a level of absurdity that this woman in like, you know, will be like killing someone with her stiletto and like smoking a cigarette and like drinking and, you know, just using all the everything at her disposal. But I love and very, very invested in the fashion.
Yeah, and you wear it very well. So
Oh,
thank
thank
you for
you.
doing
And the
it.
hair and
No, you
makeup
look,
team, they're amazing.
but you serve those looks, girl. Let's be real.
Oh, thanks.
So this podcast, we definitely talk about folks' entire filmography because we're doing a tour of their career now that they're in quote unquote an awards moment. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but by my count, you have portrayed over 19 medical professionals across your career, and the very first one was your third credit. Do you remember this?
My it could be Dr. Seek, Law and Order. Is that it?
Yes, but that's
Is
your
it
first credit. Was that person a doctor? Because I have Dr. Sharmir from Johnny Zero,
on
from Law and
what show?
Order, Johnny Zero.
Johnny Zero is a doctor for sure.
And then was the Law and Order, which was your, according to IMDb, your debut in 2004. Was she also a doctor?
I don't think 2004. I did two Law and Orders. One was a
I
doctor.
think
And
your second one is the doctor. The second one in Law and Order is the doctor.
I
That's the one
definitely
that
have
I
a
can't.
doctor in front of all my credits. You know, if you look at my IMDb, the trajectory of my career is really the trajectory of South Asian women and their portrayal on TV, which is
I
we
was
got
just literally, this is my
so
question. This
yeah.
was my question. Go ahead.
It is exactly that, which is we only got written as nurses or doctors, and maybe if we got super lucky, a lawyer, right? But all the doctor roles were all South Asian. You know, God forbid we got a doctor role on a Grey's Anatomy where you get a 360 portrayal of a doctor. These were just like slivers that came in and out of shows to, you know, to do the walk and talk of the doctor thing. And it was hard because it's all power roles and you're just starting off your career and you just don't have that. I didn't have that confidence by any stretch of the imagination, but you're put into these these tiny roles with a lot of power. And you know, it's a form of stereotyping, which is quite lethal. At some point, I said, I'm not taking another doctor role unless it is by a very good friend of mine or unless it's a fully fleshed out doctor role. I really had to make the decision to, and I, you know, some years I auditioned for one thing a year because I didn't want to do those quick doctor roles that were always offered to me.
No, and I was just going to say what I feel, and maybe this was me,
Yeah.
is like the graduation of that. And what is, I think, the seed of what I've seen in your work more recently was when you were in Wolves, because she's a doctor,
Right.
but she's got more to her.
That's right.
She's got the badassery. And you're also alongside George Clooney and Brad Pitt, who both kind of have a thing for you. Not a bad day at the office, girl.
Not a
Like,
bad day
let's
at
be
work.
real.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering for you, do you feel like that's where it is now? Or even something like what you did in The Act, which was a small role in the sense it was only one episode, but a huge part of that show.
Oh, I
mean, you're
loved
literally
it.
like the third act break, basically.
Oh, I loved it. That's what I mean. I mean, I will still get a lot of doctor roles still, but I demand that they be fleshier and more meaningful than I could at the beginning of my career. And you know,
Yeah.
frankly, after COVID, I really walked back on what I used to say, and I'm so happy to portray doctors now. I really shifted my thinking. I think they are just incredible. But what I bring to a doctor role now is very different from what I could bring to a doctor role then. But, you know, my career has been built on a bunch of no's to roles that were stereotypical and, you know, but also they're built on the trajectory on the back of South Asian creators and writers of, you know, just demanding to see, like Mindy Kaling had a very close relationship with her mom, and she really saw her mom, and her mom really saw her, and she wanted Nalini Vishwakumar in Never Have I Ever to be a fully realized non-stereotypical mother. That's the other thing. I get doctor roles and stereotypical doctor roles and stereotypical mother roles. So really having to pick and choose and shift my career into roles like Lucky, which I couldn't have manifested because I couldn't dream that big,
I love that. Poorna, thank you so much. Congratulations on the Deli
you.
Boy. And I
Thank
can't
you
wait to
so
talk
much.
to you again.
I can't wait either. Thank you so much.